Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode 47. I have no idea what I was doing with my hands. This is episode 47 of the Sports Desk. As always, I am joined with my boy Jack, and today we are welcoming Mr. Dan back.
He's back. Show.
He is a living legend on the U Stadium app. He's actually a returning guest. He was on maybe episode 6. It was a while ago.
I think it was episode 6, and then he's got more Seahawks rage that he's gonna give right now.
He was on our. Was he on our draft show?
No, I don't think he was on our draft show.
Okay, because we had several guests on for our draft show. So, episode 47, the Mel Blount episode. Shout out to the Steelers legend. It is Steelers hate week, so go Birds. Screw the Squealers. I don't know how often you guys listen to like sports radio, but I listen to about 2 hours of Pittsburgh talk radio, like WKDK, The Fan. Like 93.9 or something in Pittsburgh. Oh man. It was golden. It was first off, the guys doing it are awesome. Both the guys are really well versed in it. They were excellent. But just the kinds of scathing things that Steelers fans were saying about the Steelers, like the S word was thrown around. They were calling the Steelers soft. I've never 21 years, almost 21 years of living, I've never seen the Steelers called soft. So, how's it going, Chris?
All right, let's hear it, Dan.
All right, we'll usually start with hot takes, but today we will start.
No. I will build up. I will build it up. Please start with the hot takes while I
listen.
Try to soothe myself.
Listen, I've built it up all weekend long. I think.
Oh boy!
I know you've got a lot to say though, but
it's up to you, Dan.
Oh, I've had a quite a lot. Actually, you know what? I mean, go with the hot takes. I'll save it.
I'll pull up the hot take-o-meter. Boom.
You get to do hot takes with us. That's
wonderful! I feel privileged.
Exciting. All right, let's get it popping. Actually, I have a hot take. I didn't put it on the hot take push that I sent, but I did make a video about it. If you want to check out the full video, it's on our YouTube, U Stadium. That's where you're watching us right now. But what I want to say, the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win out. They're scheduled the rest of the way. They have Denver twice, Chargers once, Vegas once, Steelers, Bengals. They're better than all 6 of those teams. And say what you will about the inconsistency of Kansas City. They're 7-4, but this defense is playing a lot better than it had been early in the season. And Patrick Mahomes isn't turning the ball over like he did early in the season. When those two things are happening, the Chiefs win, right? Even with all of the turnovers, even with all of the mental errors the Chiefs had in the first 11 games of the season, they're first in first downs, first and third down conversion rate, and like top 5 in yards, 9th in scoring, something like that. This is an unbelievably efficient offense that just had a rush of bad turnover luck. They're going to get it figured out. Chris Jones is back on the interior. This is a scary team moving forward. I know their last game wasn't a super impressive offensive performance against Dallas, but Dallas is pretty good defensively. And they just totally shut down the Dallas offense. So Chiefs are winning out 13-4. What do you guys think?
I don't think He says no.
Where would you put it on the hot take-o-meter?
That's a tough call, honestly. I think they've definitely got the talent to do it. We know that when this offense gets hot, it gets really hot. They can explode pretty much at any given moment. So, I mean, honestly, I would probably. I need to check the remaining schedule. Let me see.
They have Denver twice, Vegas once, Chargers once, Bengals, and Steelers.
Okay.
I also, while you guys
they're beating the Broncos, they're beating the Raiders. Although the Raiders did beat the Cowboys.
I put it on the takes. I put it on U Stadium app. Got splash. Chiefs finished 13-4. 500 biggins. If you want your points, go bet the agree on that. If you want to lose points, go bet the disagree on that. So, gotta love U Stadium.
Their next 3 games are against AFC West opponents. I think they win those 3. The only one that seems up in the air is the Bengals game. The Bengals have been all over the place this year. Sometimes they look great, sometimes they just don't look like they know what they're doing.
Tell me about it.
I'm
I have
gonna
to share a
go.
division with them.
I'm gonna go Tabasco. It seems likely, but we need to like actually see it happen too. And like the Bengals game is the only one I can't seem to figure out, but it feels like they're gonna be able to win the rest of them, no problem.
Yeah, they should be favored in all 6 games. They do have to go to Cincinnati, which is not necessarily the easiest game. Yeah, I think, yeah, Chris, I agree that they should be favored. So it's almost like that's the expectation. But I actually did make a take a few weeks ago that had them finishing 12-5 or better and winning the AFC West. So there's that. But I'm doubling down. I think they're going to finish 13-4. They are too good offensively to have like a bad week, and even their bad weeks are just it's a bunch of turnovers, right? So, and defensively they have been significantly better the last few weeks of the season. They're top half of the league in third down defense, and they can run the ball too. This is unlike the last couple of years with the Chiefs that they have an elite run blocking offensive line like Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, Joe Tooney, Orlando Brown, and the dude from TCU, Lucas Niang. Yeah. Like they are all terrific run blockers. Can they pass protect? Doesn't matter. They are awesome run blockers. Do I trust Edwards-Helaire? No, but at a certain point, the run blocking offensive line is going to help out. So Dan, where would you have it on the hot take meter?
That Creed Humphrey draft selection is forever going to haunt me for the next 3 years.
Oh, you and me both. Are you kidding me?
Anything I feel.
It's not necessarily the Creed Humphrey pick itself. It's the fact that we didn't take Creed Humphrey.
Yeah. I think the Chiefs are somewhere in the Tabasco range because it's too easy. I mean, you're talking about a team that went to back-to-back Super Bowls, top 3 in offense the last 3 years. So it's too easy. But I mean, the Raiders just beat Dallas. That's not going to be an easy task. And then you have to go to Los Angeles to play the Chargers. The Chargers are still a very good team. And then Cincinnati's still up in the air because Cincinnati is a very streaky team. Mm-hmm. They can either blow you out one week or they get blown out the other week. Mm-hmm. So who knows what's going to happen? I will say this, though. Whoever wins in that Chargers Chiefs game is going to win the AFC West.
I think that's a fair assumption.
Yeah, I think we're there. I know Denver beat LA. We'll get into this later, but I don't know how much I buy from that. I don't think I learned any new information from that. It kind of reinforced my beliefs about both of those teams that I don't think the Chargers are like a serious contender because they're
still losing games they should not be losing.
It's the Chargers.
They run this style of defense that, Jack, you've seen it with the Rams, the Brandon Staley idea of you're just not going to beat us deep. That's fine, but you have teams like Denver that will never beat you deep. So they're just going to nickel and dime you to death with Teddy Bridgewater and run the ball with Javonte Williams and run the ball with Melvin Gordon.
Exactly. They don't have to try to beat them deep.
Yeah, what's the point of like Asante Samuel and Derwin playing 50 yards off or down the field if they're just going to get nickel and dime to death? This is one reason Baltimore is super successful, even though they can't run block and they have terrible running backs. No. The Chargers actively do not care about stopping the run, and it's so difficult to win games that way that you need like crazy turnover luck. And let me use the Ravens-Bills game as an example from the playoffs. The Bills won the game by 2 scores, yes, but one of those was a defensive touchdown on a ball Baltimore had in the red zone. So you run the ball again, you score a touchdown, it's 10-10. Both teams missed 2 field goals. Like, what are you doing, Buffalo? So this modern style of defense works a lot of weeks, but it's so easily exploitable. And I don't think any team is as week to week as the Chargers. Like there are just teams that match up really well. Like if they played San Francisco is running them out of the building. If they play Baltimore again, they might get run out of the building again. And I think Kansas City is going to realize we can't beat the Chargers going over the top with Hill and Kelsey, so we're going to nickel and dime them to death. And I've seen Mahomes do it. I've seen him dice Buffalo doing that. Has he done it this year? No. But I have faith in Mahomes and Reed and all those guys that they can do it when it matters. So that's where I stand. So you want to get into the real hot takes?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do
Let's
it.
To the actual
We have friend of the show, FTV 1939. Water is 99.9% wet.
How long are we gonna?
As a health nut, I would like to lose my mind on this individual because water is indeed wet. But that makes us, but as humans, are 80+% water. So technically speaking, we are also wet.
And technically speaking, atoms are 99% nothingness. So we are nothing.
So we're nothing.
All right. Speaking of nothing, we have Holden coming with Cam Akers will be back this season.
No,
No.
he'll be back in the playoffs, maybe, but he will not be back this regular season.
How far are the
This
Rams
is-
going to get is the question here.
That's
How
my
far-
question too. And I mean, this.
There you go, Chris.
I like this
Coming
guy.
with the hot take. Yeah.
I like
make
him.
sure you, everyone, make sure you tune into Chris's show. He and Stefan break down all the fantasy stuff. Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. As soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to hop over and produce their show. So they do awesome work. I can't say enough positive things about them. So huge stuff there for Chris. I don't think the Rams should bring Akers back. Even if you go to the Super Bowl, I don't think they should bring him back. That's an Achilles. That is, we've seen it with Kevin Durant. We've seen it with even other injuries in the NFL. Just if you don't need the guy, don't rush him back. Look at Juwan James.
I
in
think the
Baltimore.
Rams need him though. I think the
Yeah.
Rams absolutely need him
They
because
do.
there are the way Darrell Henderson is playing this season. It's not bad by any means, but what he's not Cam Akers. Let's
And then
be
you
real
get to
right
Sony
now.
Michel.
Sony Michel's weird this year too. He
Yes.
hasn't been playing too great. They had him returning some kicks in the last game.
I don't know. That
Um,
one blew my mind. Why?
Yeah, I was like,
come
why
on
is he
now.
returning kicks? Like what? And then
I
have a lot to complain about the Rams that I can get to later, but if I do think they need him back, but I don't want him to get rushed back and get to a point where he gets hurt again. Because that's where you start getting into some real trouble down the line if he gets hurt. Like if you rush him back, you really risk him getting hurt a second time. And it feels like with how badly this offense could need him, I mean,
I could run into the ground.
not necessarily just this year, but also next year too, because I still think next year the Rams will be they should be able to be up there contending both this year and next year. So you need him. You need a healthy Cam Akers. So you don't rush him back at all. So this is
I understand your sentiment that you need Akers. I get it, but I think with an Achilles or an ACL, you are doing too much damage here. You just look
That's
at
what I'm saying.
McCaffrey, different injury, but you don't want to, or even Derrick Henry, different injury. I get it, but you don't want to bring back your star and then spam him into the ground
exactly
and ruin it, right?
Exactly.
Like say
That's my point.
Ronnie Stanley broken ankle. He comes back, has the worst game of his NFL career. He gets injured again, and he's out another season. That could have been avoided if you just didn't bring him back until he was fully healthy. So I think, say, someone like Green Bay is doing a great job with Bakhtiari. He tore his ACL near the end of last season. He's not back yet. Do the Packers need him? Yes, they do, because they have lost. Well, Bakhtiari has been out the entire season, and I miss Jenkins so friggin' much. He is awesome. He is one of the best players, like a top 50 player in the NFL, and he tore his friggin'. Anyways, they need Bakhtiari back. They need Alexander back. They need Darius Smith, but they also know we can't afford. It's nice to have that ticket in the bank, but you don't want it to be expired, right? You don't want to have it and then it poof, right? You want it, say in 3 or 4 weeks, you're getting closer to the playoffs. Then Bakhtiari is like 100% of snaps. He's playing every week. Sure. But this week, next week, if he's out there playing every single snap, I think we have an issue. So I'd definitely be more cautious. Yeah, throw it out there.
All right. I took a look at the Rams schedule to not only make Jack mad, make him more mad, in fact, but to look at the entirety of the NFC West. San Francisco is not that far behind.
No.
True.
And
they own the tiebreaker.
This is true. Now, the Rams play at home against Jacksonville, at Arizona, home against a dreadful Seattle team, at Minnesota, at Baltimore, and then home against San Francisco. What are the chances the Rams completely miss the playoffs entirely?
I wouldn't go that. They have to play.
I wouldn't go
Jacksonville
that
and
far
Seattle.
either.
They're going to win 9 games.
I wouldn't go
least.
that far either, but what are the chances that happens? Like,
Astronomically
realistically,
low.
Minnesota's not that far behind either. If you're
The
looking,
NFC is so tight this year, but it's because it's for all the wrong reasons because a lot of the teams are just
Saints
not.
couldn't stay healthy.
Okay.
Like I think if the Saints are not losing their last 4 with Jameis Winston, they beat Atlanta and they beat Philly probably. So they're 7-4. So instead of this diabolical scenario that the R words are in the playoffs at 5 and 6, it's the Niners are the 7th seed. They're 6 and 5. Or yeah, the Niners would be 6 and 5 and absolutely steamrolling folks right now. That's a San Francisco
team is much better than where they
San Francisco is going to catch the Rams. I think that happens, but
you think that happens?
Yes, I don't. They're only 1 game back, and they own the tiebreaker, and they have Week 18. So,
I think it really comes down to the Rams if they can get their crap together. That's really what it comes down to. And
if Minnesota and Washington run the table,
do you trust
if you get because Minnesota is like Cincinnati, they're both really streaky teams. I'm not saying this because I'm a Seahawks.
Isn't Dalvin Cook out for the year?
No, he's out 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay.
This week against.
I don't know why I read he was out for the year somewhere.
I thought he was out for the year too.
He's missing next week against Pittsburgh, which is an absolutely that's a game that Minnesota needs to win because Pittsburgh is very beatable, if that makes sense. But I think the Niners do catch the Rams. The Rams aren't going to miss the playoffs. I think they have just too many wins on their schedule. I don't trust the R words to win enough games, and the Vikings would have to go 4-2 or 5-1 to beat out.
Because you're at Minnesota for week 16. You're at Minnesota in week 16.
That's a tough game.
It is a tough game.
That one looks tougher as the weeks go on.
And then you're at Baltimore the next week, and you're at Arizona 2 weeks prior.
Ugh. Yeah, that's a brutal stretch.
I'm onto something.
I don't think they lose all 3 of those games. And we assume they beat the Seahawks, and we assume they beat the Jags. So at that point, you're at 10-7.
Yes.
And I think 10 wins is pretty sure you're in the playoffs. I don't see Minnesota going 5-1 down the stretch. I don't see they're good enough to. I don't think they will. San Francisco might, but I don't see Washington doing that. I don't see Carolina sucks. Atlanta sucks.
The only team that realistically has a chance is New Orleans, and who knows what team we're going to get with the Saints.
New Orleans has been so rough the last few weeks. I think Philly has a shot. I think I would take Philly over Washington.
Philly, Washington, maybe.
But Philly is so
weird.
I mentioned earlier that the Denver LA game didn't change anything. What the heck happened to Philly? They were like world beaters. They could run the ball, and they were like clobbered Denver. They clobbered New Orleans, and they had another nice win. They played close with the Chargers. And then what are you doing against the Giants? Like you score 7 points?
Yeah,
against the Giants.
That was a disaster.
NFC East. NFC East.
I love me some Jalen Hurts. I really do. But that was just a disaster game for him. That was Jalen Reagor was awful. Every piece of that Rams team was awful. Or Eagles team was awful. And it was just
Splash, you're not wrong either way.
I am not. The Rams have lost 3 in a row. We'll talk about the Odell Beckham curse later, but I did a week by week pick last week. Actually, let me check to see how that went. I did a week by week pick last week on the solo hour. It's like, okay, we'll just pick all these games. If I had to do it this week, I do think San Francisco catches the Rams. I think San Francisco is the 8th best team in the NFL right now. They are steamrolling, folks. They are coming in and kicking butt. And you look at even the Minnesota game. Yeah, they won by 8 points, but Minnesota needed a kickoff return, and Debo had to go down. I know Debo is huge for them, but I think that's a game they should have walloped Minnesota, and it ended up at 8 because you have a kickoff return and you have an injury to your best player, one of your best players, second best player behind our Lord and Savior, my MVP vote, Trent Williams. That's just a story for another time. But Trent Williams is a 99.1 run block rate.
We should probably move on though because we've been at this for a little bit. But to go with the hot take, no, Cam Akers. That's a Pepper X take. I'm sorry, Cam Akers is not coming back this year. If he could, that'd be nice.
Really
but I don't want him to be rushed back because if he gets rushed back and he gets hurt again, that affects us not only this year but next year too. Mm-hmm. And next year, absolutely. I don't think the window's closing next year, so we've got to keep him healthy for as long as possible. So
you need a very good off season. And you need a very good offseason in order to really put yourself back into the Super Bowl contention. Because right now, let's be honest here, the rest of your division outside of Seattle is better than you.
I'd agree with Arizona. I need to see San Francisco again because, like, the thing about the Niners is, like, they always seem to have the Rams' number, but then outside of that, they just kind of are bouncing all over the place.
Here's my point. Mike McGlinchey, Raheem Mostert on the 49ers team, they are way better than you.
Well, I mean, then you can make the argument that if Cam Akers is there, the Rams are way better.
That offensive line in San Francisco is lethal.
I agree, but like, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, you can't make the injury excuse because at that point, then the Titans are much better, the Saints are much better, the Ravens are much better. You know, is there any team that is there any team that's not missing a Pro Bowler at this point, like a Pro Bowl caliber player? Like I had freaking Cam Akers as my second team All Pro guy coming into this season, then he ruptures his Achilles.
Robert Woods tore his ACL.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's get to the Beckham discussion because either you really miss Robert Woods or Odell really screwed your chemistry over.
I'll take down the hot take-o-meter for the moment, but I call BS on the Odell curse because just look at the teams they've played the last 2 weeks. They're playing a red-hot 49ers team that loves to run the ball and just punch the Rams in the mouth.
Also, before the 49er game, that was the week that not only did Odell get traded that week, but that was also the week that Robert Woods tore his ACL. Suddenly, OBJ goes from he's a luxury, like he needs to have, like he's like just another like strong wide receiver core. And the Rams wide receiver core is already pretty deep, or not too deep, but they have Van Jefferson, they have Robert Woods, they have Cooper Kupp. They can
Van Jefferson find a way the other day, by the way.
Yeah, Van Jefferson's really good.
They could just find a way to fit Odell in there, and maybe he would take a little bit away from Robert Woods. Maybe he wouldn't. And the next thing you know, Robert Woods is out for the year. And suddenly now you need Odell, and he has to learn and play a big role in this offense. He has to play a bigger role in the offense than he was first thought to. That hurt the Rams against the 49ers because they just couldn't do it. And you could tell, like, Stafford wasn't throwing to him. He wasn't really connecting with him on too many of their throws. Like, it's just
Stafford's been a disaster the last 3 weeks. It's been ugly.
Really?
It's probably also a Stafford thing because I don't know what the hell happened to Stafford, but he just is playing like Detroit Lions Matthew Stafford.
I told you this before the
season.
You did. Jack. Which Matthew Stafford are you going to get?
It's a week-to-week thing.
Are you going to get 2011 Matthew Stafford who threw for 5,000 yards, or are you going to get, I don't know, Matthew Stafford in the playoffs?
And this is the issue here because it's turning into what should have been avoided. Last year with Jared Goff, it was a week-to-week thing. You don't know which Jared Goff you're going to get. You're going to get the Jared Goff that turns the ball over 4 times a game, or you're going to get the Jared Goff that throws for a few like deep balls or has like 3 touchdowns or something like that.
He becomes Ken O'Brien.
It's the same thing.
That's
now.
An outdated reference for those Jets fans out there.
And Bengals fans, yes.
No, Jets. You're thinking of Kenny Anderson.
Do you not play
You're
for both?
You're thinking of Kenny Anderson, who should be in the Hall of Fame.
Obscure references aside.
I'm pretty sure he played on more than just the Jets.
Quiet.
I have Splash.
Okay,
Splash
he played with the Eagles.
This now.
Stop.
Eagles, not the Bengals.
Stop it.
Played 5 games with the Eagles.
Anyway, this is what the Rams were trying to avoid with Matt Stafford. It was not supposed to be a week-to-week thing, but now it is. You have to really like focus on this and find the balance, and just. I can't think of the right words at the moment, but like you have to work with him. You have to make sure that this thing gets sorted out because if Stafford is going to be a week-to-week thing, Like 1 week he throws like a pick six, the next week he's throwing for 3 touchdowns. The week after that he's throwing like
2 pick sixes,
2 pick sixes,
and
pretty
4
much. Like,
touchdowns.
Matt Schwab disease.
Oh God!
if that happens,
Hey,
then
look,
the
he
Rams,
started
I
games
think,
with the Ravens. I don't want to hear it. I think with the Rams, you have
That
to
name was addicted in
understand.
my mind.
You have to understand the context of what's happening the last few weeks. They played a revved up Titans team at home. This was without OBJ. Revved up Titans team at home.
or Von Miller.
Or Von Miller on Sunday Night Football, and the Titans punched them in the mouth. Then the next week, Monday Night Football, the Niners punched them in the mouth. Okay. Bye week. Yes, bye week.
Bye week.
And then you have the Packers, who are the best team. Well, 1A, 1B with Arizona. You lost to 3 playoff teams. You lost to 2 teams that were super revved up for a primetime game. You lost at Lambeau Field and in Santa Clara. I get the OBJ curse. It's a losing organization. How many games would the Rams have won either way? Are they going to go in that stretch unbeaten? I don't think so. I don't think there's any I understand, but I think what people do is they like to look at the results more than how those results actually happen.
Unquestionably.
Right? So
I can tell you what, a good 90% of the Rams slander that I see on the internet pretty much comes from people who have only watched primetime games. They don't watch every single second of Rams football. They just watch the primetime games. They watch the National League coverage games. The Rams-Packers game, it wasn't primetime, it was national, though. They see that game and just assume like what they think is wrong based off of what they have seen. But they have not seen every single snap of Rams football this year.
Right. And I think people like come to these conclusions and they don't like put 2 and 2 together, right? Say like every quarterback is known as a playoff choker until you win a Super Bowl. Okay. Yeah. Please explain to me how multiple teams are supposed to win a Super Bowl in the same year. Please explain to me how like both Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen are supposed to not be playoff chokers in the same playoffs. Please explain to me, or please explain how, like, just the way people process information, I think is kind of screwy here. That
Hail to the Church of Josh Allen.
Oh boy. It's just so, not everything is so cut and dry, right? We can talk about Jamal Adams with the Seahawks. Dan, did you know the Seahawks are 6th in scoring defense this season?
Yes.
6th.
And it's the most
shout out to Jamal Adams
thing.
for passing
Vince
Wilfork on the interceptions list.
Okay, here we go. Okay.
But it's all Jamal Adams' fault.
No, it's okay.
People like to take the big name players and blame them only.
Okay, so here we go.
It's Dan time.
I guess it's time for me to unleash my.
I haven't unleashed my full tirade yet, but I'll get to it eventually.
No. Then in this case, go. Wow. Okay, fine. I get the full screen.
You get the big screen.
All right.
You can still hear us though, but go for it.
All right. Cool. Wonderful. This team is infuriating. I saw this coming from 4 years away, and most of you know who you are on U Stadium, called me spoiled fan, don't know what I'm talking about, and anti-Pete Carroll. I am anti-Pete Carroll, but yes, very much so, because this guy never seems to adjust his game plan. The whole purpose of a head coach is to change your game plan to benefit your team and adjust. God forbid something happens to, let's say, I don't know, you lose Chris Carson, who is literally the focal point of your offense, to a neck injury, might not even play again, and you decide to keep running the football with Alex Collins and DJ Dallas, who are not great running backs. I can get into the drafting later. Go.
Can confirm Alex Collins was good like 5 years ago.
Yes, he was.
5 years ago.
Yes, very much so. And just molding the roster in general. Jack, you told me this, that Jamal Adams should be a linebacker. I did completely agree with you. Also, putting Benson Mayo, who's a natural defensive lineman, as your strong side linebacker is an awful idea. Did you know the starting 3 Seattle linebackers are, I quote, Bobby Wagner, Jordan Brooks, and Benson Mayowa? I'm not making this up.
Sounds like a disaster.
It is an awful idea. Okay, Cody Barton, who is a natural linebacker and a good one at that, despite not getting a lot of recognition, he's a lot better than Benson Mayowa. And Cody Barton has been a healthy scratch practically for the entire season. You're playing Benson Mayowa, who is a natural defensive lineman, over Cody Barton. I can go along with the defense, which has gotten better. Yes, they have gotten better. What happened to this offense? This was supposed to be a creative offense of, okay, we're going to run misdirections. We're going to run creative run plays. We're going to, throw the ball a lot more, 50-50 split of run pass. But if you actually pay attention to the entirety of the Seahawks offense, they run literally the same 5 to 7 plays over and over and over again. Run up the middle, draw play, screen pass, quick slant, play action, deep bomb. 6 and 7 if you want to count an occasional trick play. 7 plays. That is literally the entirety of the Seahawks offense in a playbook. What happened to Shane Waldron being the creative offensive guru that he is? I can give him a pass on this because I know this. Brian Schottenheimer was running a very aggressive offense for most of last season. And what happened? Pete Carroll said, enough of that. I'm taking over, back to running the football constantly because that's what we do best. You don't have Marshawn Lynch anymore. You don't have Thomas Rawls anymore. You don't have a great offensive line anymore. You certainly do not have Zach Miller and Luke Wilson leading the charge in a 2 tight end package. You don't have Doug Baldwin anymore. You don't have Jermaine Kearse anymore. You don't have Golden Tate, Sidney Rice, Ricardo Lockett. I can keep going. But the fact of the matter is, you have to adjust your game plan to benefit your team. And you have continuously, Pete Carroll, have failed to do that. You have failed to do that. I am not leaving John Schneider out of the mix either. You have to consider a full rebuild. And that includes Russ, Bobby Wagner, and dare I say Jamal Adams. But he has played better. Russ might get a pass here. But Brian, put you two back on. Thank you.
Yes. I will say,
how many teams outside of Tom Brady have won a Super Bowl or multiple playoff games with a $25 or more million per year quarterback? Name one outside of Tom Brady.
Was Eli getting paid that much in 2011?
Let me phrase that. How many teams have won a Super Bowl with a $25 million or more per year quarterback outside of Tom Brady? Name one.
I need to check what Eli was making in 2011, but he and Ben are the only examples of like a second or third contract quarterback. Like you go through and it like Brady, obviously.
Eli Manning made $9 million in 2011.
There you go.
Okay. So it's been Brady, Mahomes' rookie contract. Brady, Foles was goofy. Brady, Peyton was Peyton, technically, I guess.
Peyton doesn't
Brady.
count.
Russ was rookie deal. Flacco was end of his rookie deal.
By the way, I blame Joe Flacco for this 100%. I blame Joe Flacco 100% for this.
I don't agree with you there. I don't disagree with you. I was going to take it in a Shane Waldron direction, but like I think Seattle's issue, Russ was out. Yeah, yes, I agree. And I don't think Russ is fully healthy, and
he's not. I called this.
Listen, everything.
This is the first time all in his entire career Russell Wilson has missed starts due to an injury.
I told most of you people this. If Russell Wilson gets hurt, this entire franchise will be exposed for the frauds that they are, and no one listened to me. No one. For 4 years, maybe shorter than that, 3 or 4 years, I've been telling people this. This team is a terrible team, and Russell Wilson is literally covering up the holes.
I would agree with that. I think even my like preseason power rankings, Russ is the only bright spot. Everything else is like average. I like the receiver core. You have 2 like top 20.
I like Metcalf and Lockett. I love Metcalf and Lockett.
Practically a wide receiver.
But I will say, both of them, I feel like a lot of their success has depended upon Russ.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
And
that,
without him
Yeah.
there, you're not seeing Geno Smith
even
throw
close.
perfect deep balls to Lockett or Metcalf. You're just not seeing that with anybody but Russ.
yeah, both of them are exceptional deep threats. If Metcalf with his size, speed, Lockett with his ball tracking ability. And I thought coming into the season, I thought you were gonna see a lot of 11 personnel, a lot of what the Rams do, a lot of what the McVay system is, right? 11 personnel. Gerald Everett's going to get involved. Chris Carson's going to get involved. D. Eskridge is going to get involved. What has he done this season?
Nothing.
Change his name.
He's
That's
played,
about it.
He's had
Changes.
he's literally played. He's literally had maybe 12 snaps the entirety of the season. 12.
He has more name changes than touchdowns. Can we verify that?
Correct.
Metcalf was
Yes,
a cricket yesterday, and then when Metcalf was open, Russ wasn't finding him, and when Metcalf was double covered or bracketed or triple covered, he was just forced. There was one throw that Russ made down the left sideline. He had a wide open, I think it was Lockett in the middle of the field.
Lockett or Swain, I can't remember who exactly.
I
But
think it was Swain.
Swain exactly. Russ is not out of this either because
That's on decision making. That's not on a broken finger.
That's on the quarterback.
Yes.
I get you want to make big plays. I get you want to be the MVP. I get it. You want to be Patrick Mahomes. Ooh, I can throw 70-yard deep balls with the flick of a wrist just like that. I get you can do that. But at some point, be a quarterback. You are not going to throw 50 touchdowns a season. You're not.
It is incredibly rare that happens, and it takes a perfect blend of receiver talent and the offense. You're looking at 07 Brady, 13 Peyton, and 18 Mahomes. That's it.
Yep.
It is extraordinarily small list, and that is with perhaps the greatest receiver ever in Randy Moss, perhaps the greatest offense ever, the two greatest offenses ever in the 07 Patriots and 13 Broncos, and then a Chiefs team that had potentially wide receiver 1 and tight end 1. So that is a scary sight. So let's see. Chris has some stats. Last 3 games for us, DK has 8 catches, 70 yards, and 13 quarters with Geno, 17 catches, 254, 4 tutties. Geno in relief, 3 catches, 54 yards, touchdown. I will say that's a tad inflated because he had the 84-yard touchdown on Marshawn Lattimore and did nothing the rest of the game, but valid statistics all around there.
Correct. He is correct. But Jack, you and I are in the same division.
Yes.
When is it have you seen a creative McVay type offense with the Seahawks? Do you not see the 2013 or 14 Seattle Seahawks over and over and over again?
I was going to bring this up, actually. I think that's you mentioned you don't know where the creative Shane Waldron had, the creativity that he used to have is now. I think a lot of that actually has to do with Pete Carroll. And in my eyes, this might be a bit of a hot take. This might be a bit of a hot take. Splash might agree with me actually here. I don't know. Moving from Sean McVay to Pete Carroll is such a downgrade. It's ridiculous.
It's a death sentence.
That's so what?
That's a downgrade in every regard.
Every single regard. Every single regard.
But even
I was the one who did say Brian Schottenheimer needed to be considered to be let go after 2 years. I did, maybe at the 3rd year. I did consider that.
I need to look at Pete Carroll's. I don't know why I'm going down this direction. I want to look at Pete Carroll's head-to-head record against Sean McVay, but I'm pretty sure the only 2 wins. I think it's only 2 wins.
It's 2 wins
that Pete Carroll has had against Sean McVay. One came when Cooper Kupp dropped a game-winning touchdown in his rookie year. 2, Greg Zuerlein missed a field goal.
Greg Zuerlein missed a chip shot.
Probably should not even have been missed because it went directly over the upright. They ruled it no good.
Yep. But
that was a one. But
am I not wrong for saying that though? That Pete Carroll has way too much control on this team since Paul Allen died.
I have a bit of a hot take. We're going to transition back to hot takes here because it has been a little bit. But here's my hot take. I think Pete Carroll's done after this year.
Better.
You got to let him go.
I don't know if that's a hot take. I don't even think that's a hot take.
Not even a hot take.
You don't think it's a hot take? All right. Well, I mean, people will say he should stay.
The only reason that's not a hot take is because Pete Carroll is the vice president of football operations. This entire team has his fingerprints written all over it.
people will say that Pete Carroll should stay solely because of how
Whoever
long he's
says
been
that
there
need to
and
be
what
sent to
he
Pluto.
has done. I'm saying this is what people will say, not what they have said. But you can't keep this. He aside from Dan Campbell, I think he's the only coach who does not care what situation his team is in right now.
Yep.
They try to pretend that nothing's wrong, pretty much.
He thinks he still has Marshawn Lynch and the Legion of Boom at his disposal. Well, yes, Splash. The defense has gotten better over the last few weeks, and part of that is due to Jamal Adams and the fact that Darryl Taylor and Alton Robinson, the two defensive ends, have been animals at getting after the quarterback, and no one's paying attention to that.
Right.
That people just pay attention to the sacks and say, like, oh, they're great defensive players outside of Aaron Donald. But my point exactly. Alton Robinson and Darryl Taylor, their two defensive ends, have been animals at getting after the quarterback. Poona Ford and Brian Monet have been, and Al Woods, the defensive tackles, have been animals for the Seahawks. And what happens? The offense can't do anything. Why? Because Pete Carroll is the stubborn old man who continuously thinks he has Marshawn Lynch and a young Russell Wilson.
His attitude, too, I feel like has gotten a lot worse. Like, I think there was a press conference recently where, like, he just straight up said, "I'm done." Like, someone asked him a question, he got pissed off. He was like, "I'm done," and he just walks away.
Jim Moore
that never happens with
5-11. Jim Moore went 5-11 in 2009. This is worse than that.
And I just see so many stupid mistakes out of him, too. Like, he'll challenge a play he shouldn't challenge.
It's common sense.
Something is not right with him, and he's like, it feels like he's constantly trying to assume that he's in a better situation than his team really is. And he's got to go. Seattle's been way too stagnant over the last few years.
12 years this has been going on. 12 years. Listen, I'm grateful for the Super Bowl. I'm grateful for the back-to-back Super Bowl appearances. I'm grateful for it. But at some point, change has to be made. Change has to be made.
Yeah, and you can see this even with Baltimore. You know, you win the Super Bowl in 2012, you re-sign Flacco, and it was a lot of mediocrity for the next 6 years.
Yep.
And instead of blowing it up, Baltimore rebuilt on the fly because they had the Ozzie Newsome had the hindsight to bring in a new quarterback, right? And Seattle can't do that because they traded a first round pick. And we can have a conversation of is Jamal Adams worth a first round pick or not? It doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is it doesn't matter. All that matters is Seattle doesn't have their first round pick and they suck. So they can't tank. And you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, this is a trade Russell Wilson, fire Pete Carroll. And there is one.
I don't think you even need to do that, though. I don't think you even need to do that. I think
you don't need to fire Carroll or don't need to trade Russ.
No, I don't think you need to trade Russell Wilson. I think you need to consider it. I don't think you trade him. I think you consider it.
Could also light a fire under his butt too if you start toy around with the idea. If you toy around with the idea of trading Pete Carroll, or not trading Pete Carroll, trading Russ.
I blame Sierra for this 100%. I blame Sierra.
I think you'd have to trade a first-round pick to get Pete Carroll out of town.
I blame Sierra.
Which we don't have, so that's fantastic.
Okay. Thank you for that. But I 100% blame Sierra for this, 1,000%. I'm kidding. That's obviously a joke.
I have a theory. This is a terrible quarterback draft class.
Yes.
Right? Corral and Pickett, nothing against those guys. They're not Burrow. They're not Burrow. They're not Lawrence. They're not Fields. I think all 5 of the first round quarterbacks last year would have gone head and shoulders above any guy this year.
Yep.
What if, say, I don't know, Washington misses the playoffs, or I don't want this to happen, but I'm going to just say it. Pittsburgh misses the playoff.
Well, Pittsburgh's going to go all in on Russell Wilson. That's the first team that calls.
Why not send this number 16 pick to Seattle and some later picks in other rounds and maybe another first in the next year's draft?
Okay.
Why not send that?
The only reason I won't say Pittsburgh is a definite is because it's Pittsburgh. They're going to want to keep Ben Roethlisberger for another year.
Yes!
They're
Do it.
going to want to
Lash
do
is
it.
happy about that as a Ravens fan.
They're
I'm thinking
gonna wanna do
about it from their perspective. I'm just
That's
terrified right now.
That is
Think of who runs the Steelers. Kevin Colbert and the Rooney family still runs the Steelers. They're gonna do the same thing as John Mara and Steve Tisch did with the Giants. They're gonna want to keep Eli Manning and Ben Roethlisberger for one more run, and it's gonna break them.
Yeah,
It's gonna break them.
Pittsburgh and Seattle are in the same boat here. They desperately need a terrible season and reset everything.
Yep.
They say there are very few teams, like say Baltimore, say New England, that can rebuild on the fly. You get a quarterback and it all works. Lamar Jackson, Mac Jones. It just works. You have a down year, you have a down sequence, and then boom, you're right back.
Yep.
Pittsburgh, I don't think Pittsburgh can do that. I don't think
They will
Seattle
never
can do that. Like both of those teams are so top heavy with talent that Russell Wilson is awesome. Bobby Wagner is awesome. Jamal Adams is awesome. Dwayne Brown is awesome. Lockett and Metcalf are awesome.
No, he's not. Dwayne Brown is a fossil for who he was. He makes Andrew Whitworth look good. Sorry, Jack.
Well, Andrew Whitworth is good.
What? Stop
off.
it. Andrew Whitworth has been fantastic this season.
You know that was a joke. Okay, first, Dwayne Brown. Okay,
Dwayne Brown's been pretty solid this season.
Jack, since the McVay system came to Los Angeles, Andrew Whitworth has looked like a completely different left tackle than when he was with
Andrew
Cincinnati.
Whitworth came to LA the same year as Sean McVay.
Correct, but you get my point. The McVay system is supposed to benefit the offensive line.
It is, and I agree.
All four tackles are really good.
What happened? What happened here?
I don't know.
What happened?
I genuinely don't know.
I don't know what happened with this system. It's because suddenly, listen, I love Dwayne Brown. I love that trade.
Dwayne Brown was fine last night. He's been pretty solid this season.
Fantastic when they had to make that trade. Reese Odiombo was an awful left tackle, and they had to make that trade from Houston. They had to do that. And he has been fantastic until this year since that trade has happened.
I will agree to disagree with you on that. I think he's been pretty solid this season. Obviously, if you're comparing him to like Trent Williams and Andrew Whitworth in the division, yeah, it's a dumpster fire. But I think he has been a rock solid left tackle. Like he's always kind of in consideration for like my team of the week. Like he hasn't won it this year, but he's like, I don't know, tackle 5. Like he's not poor. He's like a solid left tackle.
Can I consider
a PFF grade of a 72.7?
Can I blow up the Seahawks figuratively speaking? If, let's say figuratively, Schneider, Pete, and maybe Russ were all to be gone in the offseason.
Sure.
How many picks do you guys have in the draft this year?
I don't even want to know, actually. For once,
we have 3. We only have 3 picks this year so far.
Oh.
We might get some consent.
Let me check real quick. And
Seattle totally screwed themselves at the last draft. I get
we should
come
move
into
on
the draft
for real because we've been at this for a while.
Yeah, I'll wrap up my
4
point.
More hot takes.
Yeah, Seattle came into the draft with 3 picks. A second, a third, and a 7th. Then you take a wide receiver in the second round. Why didn't you trade down?
Humphrey was right there.
I agree with you, but why don't you trade down? This team, like I said with Pittsburgh, is devoid of talent beyond the top shelf. This is like gold film as opposed to a gold bar. Tampa is a gold bar. Seattle and Pittsburgh and other teams across the league are, if you find a piece of gold in a trash can, are you going to continue to dig? Pittsburgh and Seattle, yes. But Tampa is finding a gold bar in a bunch of gold bars. So you have these superstars, Russ, Cam Hayward, Watt, Jamal Adams, Bobby Wagner, Deontay Johnson, etc. But you have so many flaws at other positions, and your depth is shaky. When Pittsburgh misses 3 of their top 4 players against the Chargers, they allow 41 points. When Seattle is without Russell Wilson for 3 weeks, and then he turns into a pumpkin when he comes back, they just start losing. So yeah, let's finish up these hot takes.
The words Creed Humphrey was right there are going to haunt me for the rest of my life.
They currently have 6, by the way, the Seahawks. They have 42, 76, 99, 106, 138, and 202 as of right now.
I would absolutely 100,000% look to trade down and accumulate draft capital.
Not even a question.
if you don't end the draft with 8 or 10 picks, I think it's a absolute failure.
Which is Schneider's specialty, by the way. He loves stockpiling picks. He loves doing that.
And this is.
Then why
I
did he
think
sit on
you
3
have
last
to,
year?
Good point. I think you have to.
Oh, screw off.
Okay.
I do think this. You might actually be forced to trading Russell Wilson. As weird as that sounds.
Not even that. You might have to trade Wagner first. You trade
That's
Wagner
true.
first.
You trade Wagner before
you trade Wagner. That contract, listen, love him to death, but that contract is awful. He's going to ask for $20 million.
Do you guys
18
think
million.
Wagner is taking a step down this year?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
On
because
question.
I haven't really haven't been considering him in like my All Pro, and we'll get to Pro Bowl picks later. But I'm gonna pick.
They haven't watched enough Seahawks games. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick
You can't
3.
cover
Like
to save his life.
Wagner's still like solid, but he's not 6-time or 5-time reigning All Pro. I wouldn't have picked him for my All Pro.
Five straight All Pros.
Yeah, fabulous. I would not have picked him last year. So that's neither here nor there. Okay. This is in both of your guys' wheelhouses, not in mine. Chef Squill, check out his show tomorrow at 5 Eastern. Jack Hughes was so overpaid. Yeah.
He got so the Devils signed him to an 8-year, $64 million contract.
It's the Devils. Okay, let's be clear with it's the Devils. Okay. Nico Hischier is their captain, is going to get $7 million a year. It's the market of the NHL today. I mean, if Dougie Hamilton could get paid $9 million a year, then Jack Hughes could absolutely get paid $8 million a year. And Dougie Hamilton's not a bad player. I'm not saying
Dougie Hamilton's not a bad player, no.
Dougie Hamilton's a good player, but I would not have paid him $9 million a year. Absolutely not. Not even discussion. Who was the Blue Jackets defenseman that got paid a ridiculous amount of money, Jack?
I forget his name.
Werenski? Zach Werenski?
Yeah, it sounds like Werenski. Yeah.
How much is he getting paid?
Let me see.
$10 million?
Let me see. Zach Werenski contract. Holy 57.5 is his total.
Correct. For how many years? 5 years?
6 years.
6 years. Do the math. $9.5 million. I think so.
Yeah, 9.
Something along those lines. Splash is going to be our math guy. We'll just use you as our calculator.
Correct me if I'm so. The NHL, the salary cap in the NHL is going down. It doesn't help the fact that everything that happened the last couple of years. It doesn't help that you get the Chicago Blackhawks situation, and that's going to make them lose more money. And then you get the Robin Leonard situation, exposing the entire medical system. In the NHL.
Honestly could be heading for a lockout.
I don't blame
be heading for another lockout soon, and that's I hate the fact that I've had to say that, but I mean this is not looking good. And
absolutely,
but the COVID season last year was terrible. It's the one I've said this before, Splash too. I think it's the one league where I would be willing to put an asterisk on the Lightning winning the Stanley Cup.
Yep.
Because
they should have lost the Stanley Cup to this guy. They should have lost in the conference finals last year to this team.
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest, it was a complete mess the way it was executed too, and I think that Gary Bettman, the commissioner, he actually went and said that he's got to go. He went and said that it would be better financially for the league if there was no season last year than if they played without fans.
Wow, we have breaking news. LeBron James is going to miss the next 10 days with health and safety.
10 days. I didn't realize it was 10 days.
Yeah, or back-to-back negative tests.
They haven't said anything. I saw that on my Twitter. I didn't realize it was 10 days. It's okay.
Suffer Los Angeles Lakers.
I'm gonna buy 2K22 after this and fix everything.
I have NBA Live 06. I love that game. Yeah, I'm a fossil.
I wanted to buy Madden. Like I've been wanting to play Madden more, and I popped in Madden 21 and started this season with the Ravens and Bills playoff game. Won that, and then I played Cleveland the next round. I was up like 4 late.
This year's Madden, face of the franchise, is horrible. It's horrible. I can get into a tangent about that later, but it's not good.
We can.
Can we get back to hockey? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. The salary cap is broken.
Yes.
And Tampa Bay exposed it.
Tampa Bay found
Twice.
a weird loophole with it that
Twice.
made everybody start to question it when they did their whole crap with holding Kucherov out on long-term injured
And
reserve.
Stamkos. Don't forget him. Well, Stamkos technically doesn't count because he's always hurt.
Even I know that. Are my Red Wings like not half bad this year?
The Red Wings are decent this year, actually.
I told you, Jack. I told you that the Dukovic trade's going to help him. I told you.
Yeah, you weren't wrong. I didn't doubt you.
Of course, I'm not wrong. I told you this was going to happen.
Okay, let's get back to hot takes. We have 3 more.
I agree with you.
Okay. Antifa Rich says MLB lockout will postpone opening day. Hope it doesn't.
Fingers
Probably
crossed.
will.
I think there's
I
a
don't know.
lot of time left, but you got to really hope that like whatever needs to get solved gets solved like
Yeah, because
right
the
away.
issue with baseball, actually the issue with all the sports is that it's not a cut and dry process, right? You have to, there's so many things you have to plan with preseason, with spring training for baseball that there's a chance that this, it starts tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Theoretically. So if it goes, I don't know, if it goes longer than a month and a half, I think you are seriously, like if it's January 15th, January 20th, MLK Day, January 25th, the season isn't, at the start of the season is in question at that point. Like
Let's consider this though, because it's the history of Major League Baseball. I mean, the small market team issue is not helping this whole thing.
That's
you
true.
look at the entire structure that is baseball. The small market teams and now the Mets are the highest, currently the highest payroll in baseball are the New York Mets. Who would have thought? But who
Didn't
would
they
have
take
thought
Scherzer from us?
Yes, they did.
I'm very sad about the Dodgers offseason so far.
Well, I mean, let's look at the Diamondbacks are god awful. They are a small market
You're
team.
teasing me right now.
I mean,
so
the Braves, the Braves technically are a small market team and they won the World Series. That helps.
mean,
the Texas Rangers, the Kansas City Royals are god awful this season.
You what?
The Rangers spent $500 million in the last 3 days.
Already.
Get Corey Seager.
Yeah, no kidding. But
Marcus Semien.
Please
2 nice players, and they got John Gray from Colorado. 3 nice players.
I will say, actually, I'm not too upset about the whole about Corey Seager being gone. Or Max Scherzer being gone. Corey Seager, I'm devastated about. Scherzer being gone, I'm not 100%.
Muncy towards UCL.
Yeah, Muncy towards UCL.
But I'm not wrong for saying this, right? The small market issue in baseball is not going to help when it comes to the lockouts because you got teams like
Max Scherzer is currently going to make a higher value than some
Connor McDavid and Connor McDavid.
Okay, that's a story for another time. But
different sports, but you get my point.
Scherzer is going to make more money in a season than the entire Cleveland Redacteds
and the entire Orioles.
The Cleveland Guardians
opening day roster.
I'm always going to call it
Guardians now.
I think at this point I'm going to just call Cleveland the Redacteds and Washington the R words. So there we are.
You should.
Did I tell you guys that I had this grand idea that the Braves changed the chop to the hammer in honor of Hank Aaron?
I like that.
That's not terrible.
So instead of the open hand,
you could just do the closed hands.
But also, I mean,
brought to you by Home Depot.
But also, you got Barstool Sports that could take that out of context. The hammer. You guys do that motion again. You guys do that motion again. I'm sorry. I'll behave. I'm sorry. See?
Anyways.
I'll behave.
Okay, we have Landon M12. Cam Newton, in fact, is not back.
Nope.
That was featured.
Oh, goodness me. Cam Newton played one of the most atrocious games I think I've ever seen him play.
Makes more
sense. I've ever seen a quarterback play ever.
There's a lot of stats that I can start with here. How about 5 for 23 completions? That is a bottom 5 game since 2000. We are talking about an era of quarterbacks that includes Todd Collins, Tim Tebow, Kerry Collins, Mark Sanchez. That's a good one. JT O'Sullivan was starting games in the NFL.
Let's look
Tavares
at this.
Jackson.
Chad Henne, Jamarcus Russell,
Clipboard
Paxton
Jesus,
Lynch.
Charlie Whitehurst.
Charlie
5
White.
for
Yeah,
21.
great
That's a
hit.
23.81
Okay, 5 for
completion
21.
percentage.
He had
92
a
yards.
5.8 passer rating.
5.8 passer rating.
No other
5.8.
no other quarterback's been under 20 this season. Lamar Jackson threw 4 picks on Sunday Night Football. He was in the 40s.
Glenn, if you're listening, I'm sorry, my friend.
I understand that it was just one of 3 games that he's played this season, but good luck coming back from that. Atrocious of a performance. You better follow that up with like 5 touchdowns next game.
And 64 of those yards came on one play.
Yep.
Yeah, that 64 of those yards came on one play. And then he had a rushing
I'm not even kidding. If he doesn't follow it up with like at least 5 touchdowns, he's done. He's not back.
He's not coming back. Nope. His shoulder is meat. His shoulder is literally Drew Brees meat.
I respect the nostalgia factor of bringing him back. I thought that was a nice little return that he had in his second game back.
You can work with him in packages. It's just, although I will say Miami's very good defensively, and they have been red hot. Yeah. So they've been red hot. So I'm giving Cam another week.
I'm totally fine with giving him another week. I'm just saying he's got to ball out.
Tampa twice. I don't know about that. They're going to lose both of those games, but I don't know. Tampa is when you're talking about this season.
When you're talking about one particular player, though, I think it's less about win or lose and more about how does he look individually.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, last hot take: fire Mike Zimmer. I wonder who he's a fan of. Says Colts versus Patriots, AFC title game. No. I think Indianapolis is very, 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 very good. I also think New England is very good. The problem is you usually don't get 2 teams like that, right? You get one of them. Like you get one 2020 Bills, you get one 2019 Titans, you get one 2018 Chiefs. You get one of those. You get one 2017 Jags. What's the last time we had 2 unexpected teams go to a title game? Like 2008 Cardinals Eagles.
Vikings and Eagles is probably a close one, though.
Yeah,
Vikings Eagles is pretty close.
They were the top 2
Vikings and
seasons.
Eagles are pretty close.
They were, but they were like,
fair.
The Eagle. No one expected Foles to do what he did.
Okay, that's valid. Okay, so
and then we had the Minneapolis Miracle. So
revisionist history. It's probably Saints Falcons, right?
Probably
like those are the teams that if you walked into if you were dropped into time continuum and dropped into those games, you think you think the Saints and Falcons win those games? Because I feel like that's a logical thing.
Okay.
Would Saints Falcons be less weird?
The Patriots are more likely to happen than
the Colts.
Colts.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's true. Because by the way, how wrong was Nick? By the way,
they play in a couple weeks.
Nick, I don't know if you're listening, but how wrong were you by saying the Patriots free agent signings that were not going to work out?
To be fair, the Johnny Smith one has been a disaster, but Hunter Henry's been awesome. Matt Judon's been awesome.
I'm so happy I can root for Hunter Henry now. Even though he's on the Patriots, I can still root for him.
Oh, I have a hot take later.
Jesus, you were wrong. But listen, it would be a cool AFC Championship game if the Ravens and Patriots were to meet again. That would be awesome.
Part 3?
Awesome.
I would be very let me be very honest with you. I have no expectations for the Ravens the rest of the year. I was talking to myself yesterday and said, if we go 10-7, we're 8-3 right now. If we win 2 games the rest of the season, I'm totally happy with that.
I would rather take.
I'd be so down to go to an AFC title game this year.
I think Buffalo is still my pick to come out of the AFC because if Buffalo gets hot, because they're starting to slow down a little. Yes, this is the Churchill Josh Allen speaking. If Buffalo starts to get hot, on the right time, they're going to the Super Bowl. That defense is phenomenal.
They just lost Trey White.
They did lose Trey White, but still that pass rush is lethal.
I think the Bills have too many flaws for me to say they're going to the Super Bowl. And I think every team in the AFC is in this bucket.
Thank you. You saved yourself, including Kansas City. Including Kansas City.
Yes, including Kansas City.
Thank you. You have saved yourself.
No team in the AFC is without warts. Like heck, the Patriots are the one team that probably don't have any warts, but they have a rookie quarterback and the lowest ceiling. Right? They are the only AFC contender. So AFC contenders we'll say are Bills, Patriots, Ravens, Bengals, Colts, Titans, Chiefs. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Are you missing
I
any
think that's fair.
teams?
As of right now, who do you think stays in their spots? Because right now you get the Ravens, Patriots, Titans, Chiefs, Bengals, Bills, and Chargers currently in the playoffs as of right now. Who stays?
Okay.
Who goes?
I think Baltimore and Tennessee might not be good enough to stay, but they've already won 8 games, and that helps out, right? So Baltimore might only need 2 more wins to clinch a playoff spot. Tennessee has a 2-game lead or a 2.5. Is it 2.5?
Yeah.
No, it's a 2-game lead on Indianapolis. They both have a bye week coming up.
CBS just brought up a great point. They said so the Browns are currently 6-6, and every
Please,
team
Chelsea.
remaining on their schedule has a 500+ record. They play Baltimore, who's 8-3, Vegas, who's 6-5, Packers, who are 9-3, Steelers, who are 5-1. That's still weird, but thanks,
Still
Lions.
Weird.
Bengals are 7-4.
Yep, every team we play the rest of the way is also over 500. So, yeah.
I think it's true for the Rams. Maybe not, actually.
You
I
guys
think
play
Who's the
Jacksonville,
one
yes.
seed? Who finishes
yeah,
as the one
Jacksonville,
seed?
right?
I think New England and Buffalo split. I
In the
think Kansas
AFC?
City.
Who's
In the
Yeah,
AFC, yes.
I think Kansas City. I think Kansas City is the best chance.
You
Because
sure?
yes, I'm sure. I think
the Ravens have the 1 seed right now.
The Ravens
they do
currently,
have the
as of
1
right
seed
now, the
now.
1 seed, yes.
but
They don't hold on to
there's-
that. I don't think they hold on
There's
to
losses on the schedule. Buffalo and New England are going to beat each other up, and they're both going to give each other their 5th loss.
Those are going to be
And I
great
think-
games, though.
Yes. Kansas City. I think Kansas City runs the table. We talked about this in the intro. I think Kansas City runs the table and they get the 1 seed because Baltimore's going to lose twice. Both Buffalo and New England lose again. Tennessee loses twice. Or even once. All they have to do is lose once, and Kansas City has a clear path to the 1 seed. So Kansas City currently does not control their destiny in the conference, but Baltimore loses twice, New England and Buffalo lose once, Tennessee loses once, and boom. Because Kansas City can beat Cincinnati, the other 7-4 team, and they'll beat the Raiders and Chargers and Broncos twice. So I think, gun to my head, the 1 seed is the Chiefs. Do I trust the Chiefs to do that? No. But do I trust other teams to beat the Chiefs? No. I think that's this conversation you have to have. But going back to my...
Okay, if Buffalo and Kansas City were to meet in Orchard Park for the AFC Championship game in the snow, who wins?
I don't
Good
trust
question.
Buffalo to beat Kansas City.
In
I know they
Buffalo,
beat them
man.
week 6. I don't trust them to beat Kansas City.
In the
If
snow.
they do, congratulations.
Snow
I don't know.
outside,
with
I don't
that
trust them.
crowd.
Don't trust them.
Patrick Mahomes has played in snow before. Arrowhead gets snow. Arrowhead gets loud too.
God, you are
Patrick Mahomes.
Oh,
I don't think snow here matters. I think you can say what you will about the crowd, but I don't trust
Patrick
Buffalo
is
to beat
gonna be
Kansas
more
City.
than ready for an away crowd. We've seen it before.
I don't trust Buffalo to beat Kansas City. Can Buffalo beat Kansas City? Yes, they already beat them this season. In a playoff game, in a do or die, winner goes to the Super Bowl, loser gets laughed at for 9 months. I don't trust Buffalo to win that game. I trust Kansas City to win that. I'm not even saying that I trust Kansas City to win the game. I just don't trust Buffalo to win that game. I don't trust Josh Allen to be good for 3 weeks in a row or 2 weeks in a row at this point. He has these crazy highs. I get it. He is spectacular when he's on, but it's also the same guy that can have an awful game against Miami. They win 35-0. Have an awful, abysmal, terrible, atrocious
Dan
game
just did to his
against the Colts.
jersey. You
Oh
see what
my
he did to
goodness,
his
he
jersey
was-
when he walked away?
Look, I get the Church of Josh Allen. I understand. But how many games, what's the longest streak Josh Allen played competent football? Not even good, not even awesome, not even elite. Competent football. 2
I have
weeks?
returned.
3 weeks?
I love the little this you gave to your Wallstrom jersey. That was
Well, there's also another church, the Church of Wallstrom.
Oh, man.
Come on,
Look,
that's funny.
it was
I-
funny. It was funny.
I get it with Allen. He's awesome. I get it. He was pretty good against the Saints. But how many times this season has Josh Allen been good in back-to-back games?
Most of the season. Well, I'm
Strongly
not.
disagree with you
Let me
there.
rephrase it. Okay, let me say this now. Do I trust Kansas City more than I do Buffalo? Yes, I do, because one, they've done it twice, but something tells me, okay, it's their time. Something tells me it's the Bills' time to do so. If Buffalo were to get the 1 seed, realistically, I think they can. I think the Tre'Davious White loss is going to hurt them more than people think.
That's a big loss.
That is a huge
loss.
loss.
He is a top 5, top 3 corner.
Tremaine Edmonds, outside of their 2 safeties, Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde.
White's more important than all of them.
Maybe in there somewhere. That's their best defensive player.
Yeah, he is the best. He's the most valuable piece on that team other than Josh Allen. Maybe
yes.
Deion Dawkins has been really good this season, but
Deion Dawkins is awesome.
Neither here nor there. But Tre'Davious White is one of the best, if not the single best corner in the NFL. Like, he has been just spectacular this season. And that disrupts what you want to do with the secondary. That makes Hyde worse. That makes Poyer worse. That makes your other corners around him a little bit worse. That hurts the pass rush. That hurts the linebacker core. And Buffalo lost their upside. To me, I think are out of that. Can Buffalo win the Super Bowl? Yes. Would I bet on it? No. In a vacuum? No. I think that's where we're at. Would I bet on the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl? Yes. Would I bet on the Ravens? No. Patriots? Maybe. Colts? No. Titans? No. Bengals? No. So the only team in the AFC I would currently bet to win the Super Bowl is Kansas City. For better or for worse.
Aaron Johnson, Levi Wallace, and Saron Neal are right now the Bills' starting 3 corners.
I don't think that holds up against Kansas City.
Still, but that's not great.
I don't think that holds up against Kansas City. I don't think that holds up against. I don't. And they're a team like the Chargers. They're kind of like an upgraded Chargers, right? Josh Allen has more experience than Justin Herbert. The defense is more cohesive than the Chargers, but they also don't care about stopping the run. You saw what Derrick Henry did to them. You saw what Jonathan Taylor did to them. What's stopping Kansas City from coming to Orchard Park saying, we're just going to run the ball today? And Creed Humphrey is just going to maul dudes up front. And Trey Smith is going to maul. How is he a 6th-round pick? He's going to maul dudes up front. And Joe Thuney is going to maul dudes up front. And Orlando Brown is going to be pancaking fools. What's stopping Kansas City from doing that? What's stopping even Baltimore from going up there and running the ball on them? They did it last year and had a goofy pick 6. That's the only reason they weren't tied going into the 4th quarter. What's stopping Denver? What is stopping the Denver Broncos from going to Orchard Park and smacking the Bills?
The Denver Broncos.
Exactly.
No. This team just went out and smacked the Chargers. What is stopping them from doing that to Buffalo? What is stopping? No one on Buffalo can stop Javonte Williams. None of those clowns can tackle Javonte Williams.
Whoa.
Buffalo does not care about stopping the run. That has been clear the last 2 years. They don't care about stopping the run. If you out physical Buffalo, you can beat Buffalo. And Denver is a freaking awesome secondary. I don't want to say this. I don't trust Teddy Bridgewater enough to say that I would pick Denver over Buffalo, but that is
it's not impossible, is what you're saying.
You have exposed your character, I see.
Buffalo and the Chargers and other teams in the league, the Rams, are soft. They are soft. They do not care about stopping the run. If you want to throw on them, you're going to get screwed.
Can we move on from the hot takes and I can start slandering Raheem Morris?
Please, can we let Jack have his turn to destroy the Rams?
I just want one more thing about Josh Allen. I'm going to read off his PFF passing grades. 69, nice. 45,
nice.
83, 65, 91, 78, 71, 50, 92, 38.5, 75. He has had one streak of more than one game of being above a 70. He has been a good quarterback for one streak. It was 3 games in a row. He had a 91 against the Chiefs, had a 78 against Tennessee, and had a 72 against Miami. Hit a bye week in between. Look, this Buffalo team has flaws. Every team in the AFC has flaws. I've been there before. But if you gave me a Denver as a 7 seed at Buffalo 2 seed, I might pick Denver against the spread. Do I trust them to win that game? No. But do I trust them to annoy the living crap out of Buffalo? Could I win the game in Madden realistically? Yes.
Yeah, I could.
Are the Broncos actually going to win the game? Probably not. Are the Ravens actually going to win that game? Probably not. But the fact of the matter is Buffalo doesn't care about stopping the run. We have seen when they face these teams that actively try to run the ball, Buffalo is very Pete Carroll, and they just don't change. They don't change their game plan. Jonathan Taylor and the Colts will steamroll them if they play again. And you look at what happened to the Titans game. Josh Allen was magnificent Josh Allen played well in that game. 78 grade, had a big time throw, 350 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then absolute disaster struck because the Titans just kind of out-Titans the Bills, right? The last play of the game, most important play of the game, Josh Allen slipped and fell down and was short. So if there's anything to take away from this, I think every team in the AFC is flawed.
This is true.
Jack is just now noticing the comments.
Yeah, I just saw the comment section. Okay, I'm gonna get the ticker going up with the scores from this week. There were a lot of wild games too, but I want to start with my rants.
If I had to pick Broncos Bills today, I would pick the Bills to win. But I think it is a game of matchups so much that if the Broncos were managed by someone with half a brain or coached by someone with half a brain, sorry, Vic Fangio, hope you're still salty about week 4. Someone with half a brain, he's actually a former Ravens assistant, half a brain, I think you can walk into Buffalo and beat them with the personnel that Denver has.
Hold on, Splash. I'm going to order you some KFC. Kentucky Fried Chickens.
You like that one?
That was good. I wish I wasn't drinking while you said that, but I'll take it.
I gotta get going, guys. But
oh man,
pleasure. I will end the note on that. Thank you guys for having me. Now,
no problem.
Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Indeed. Hail to the Church of Josh Allen. Goodbye.
Okay, Jack, am I right about the whole Rams are squishy, Chargers are squishy, Bills are squishy? Yes or no? That you're drinking. Okay, so
you are. Let me put it to you this way with the Rams. Let me kind of get into my ramble here.
Yeah,
ramble. Funny.
That was a good one. That was a good one. Hey, that could be the show name for you and your
honestly.
Rams buddies.
I think they have a show. The team has a show or something like that. But either way,
isn't your do you have a mascot? Yes, his name is Rampage.
Rampage, yes, Rampage is our mascot.
Okay. Not as good as Poe, but quality.
Disagree.
Mascot.
Hard disagree.
What? No, Poe is. Oh man.
Which one is Poe? Which one is Poe? Is he the
Ravens one?
Why don't I know what he looks like?
Jackson DeVille, I think
the Jags mascot is cool because he does bungee jumping off the jumbotron or something.
That's true,
or whatever.
Too. Sir Purr is pretty cool. We should rank the mascots.
We need to tier list the mascots.
We were actually supposed to do that for baseball ones, but that's.
Oh boy, tier listing mascots is going to be fun.
Okay,
anywho,
let's get into the Rams section.
You are completely right in that Raheem Morris is soft.
Let's do a word association. I'll give you a word and you just go off. Are you ready? Okay. Raheem Morris.
Fire. He needs to be fired. I want him out. The bend but don't break style defense is killing me because you said, this team just doesn't care about stopping the run. They just don't care. They are constantly playing they put Ramsey all over the field in so many different places when it was very clearly proven last year. What was that?
He gets juked out by Aaron Rodgers.
Listen, I don't think he saw it coming. He didn't realize what was happening until it was too late. It was another Ryan Tannehill incident. They didn't see the QB still had the ball. It was a little funny, though, I will admit.
Oh man. Then I think Devontae Adams was 7 catches on 7 targets.
Incompetent. That's a good one, Austin.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
That's okay. Okay. Name number 2. Jalen Ramsey on Sunday.
Bad. I won't say egregious, but he was not himself.
I like
He was
egregious a
definitely
lot.
not himself.
Okay. Aaron Donald on Sunday.
Underwhelming.
He's actually my team of the week this week.
I think he was underwhelming because like
he had like a PFF.
he had a couple
90...
solid run stops, but like I want sacks out of Aaron Donald too. Like
that's
the pressures are solid.
Generates a lot of pressure, but
he generates a lot of pressure.
Thing.
He gets good stops on the run. I want sacks though.
I missed a hot take. I missed a hot take. Throw up the. Yep. Okay. Hot take. Yep. English.
You had it up first.
All right. There we go. Hot take. The Ravens made the right decision in keeping Tyus Bowser over Matt Judon and Yannick Ngakoue.
Okay. Sorry, I'm still a little Rams oriented to think about.
Yeah, I understand. I just forgot to say this while Dan was on the show. I get Judon has a ton of sacks. I get Ngakoue has a ton of sacks. Bowser does not. But what Bowser does, the last few weeks, he has been phenomenal. He has been perhaps the best edge in the league the last 2 weeks. But he drops into coverage. It's very like TJ Watt-y for Pittsburgh. He does a lot. Rhyming. He defends the run pretty well. He's a good pass rusher. On a rate basis, he's better than Ngakoue, actually. He just doesn't have as many pass rush opportunities. And then you go with Judon. And Judon is a superior pass rusher in terms of pressure rate, but passing grade or pass rush grade favors Bowser a little bit, which is weird because Judon has more pass rush snaps, and PFF works in a manner of if you play at a high level every single week, your grade gets inflated. This is why, say, Aaron Donald might end with a season grade that's higher than any individual game, or why Trent Williams has a 99.1 run blocking grade, even though he hasn't gotten that in a single week. It's just if you're over 90 enough, like Aaron Donald, like Trent Williams, you're going to increase that. So Judon has all these pass rushing snaps, has all of these good pass rushing snaps, but Bowser's higher grade. I'm not saying that Bowser is better than they are, or that even that I would take them over, but I do think it was an incredible foresight to say, we're going to keep the cheaper one who can do more, right? He is defending a run very well. He is solid enough in coverage for an edge outside linebacker type, and Ngakoue doesn't do that. Judon doesn't do that. And he does enough as a pass rusher in a four-headed monster. I believe the Ravens are the only team in the NFL to have 4 different players with 25 pressures. Calais Campbell is 25, Bowser's over 30, Odafe Owe is over 40, Justin Houston's over 30. Tremendous all around. Great work, Baltimore. And that's the end of that segment.
Okay. There we go. Anyway,
back to your Rams.
Because like the thing about Aaron Donald is that like one of the big things you expect from him is sacks. And Aaron Donald, Von Miller, Leonard Floyd, no one had any sacks against Aaron Rodgers. I think again this comment here. You expected him to do better given the state of the Packers' offensive line. I wholeheartedly agree. You look at that offensive line, it's a bunch of second and third string players, pretty much is what it felt like. And they just clamped
Yeah, we talked about Jenkins earlier. That was just sad.
Yeah. And I was like, well, it sucks for Jenkins, but at the same time, I want Von Miller to go off. I want Aaron Donald to go. Von Miller said his ankle problems were a non-factor. He had a pretty solid run stop on Aaron Jones, too. I honestly thought that A.J. Dillon was the better running back in that game.
I like Dillon a lot. I like Jones a lot too, but I like Dillon a lot, and I think he's a very Green Bay-y kind of runner, and I like it. And that's
he just runs so tough too. Our guys can't tackle. Troy Reader could not tackle. He played terrible.
He had a nice catch out of the backfield and scored on it, right?
I don't remember.
Got me fantasy points against you. Even though you beat me.
Did I beat you in fantasy this week?
Yeah, you beat me by like 12 points.
Oh my God. I'm not even paying it. Here's how little I care about fantasy. I had Matthew Stafford and Darrell Henderson in my lineup during the bye week.
Oof.
That's how bad I am.
Ouch.
I just don't care.
Yeah, it happens. Okay. Rams word association. Oh, wrong one. Rams word association. Matt Stafford.
Can I say underwhelming again?
Sure.
I'm going to say underwhelming again. Disappointing, I think, is actually a better word there. I expect coming off the bye week, you need to play better than that. You need to he last week had the excuse that he didn't practice all week. like against the 49ers. This week he was fully practicing. Even though there was talk actually. There was talk about how he was like dealing with like some back pain, like chronic back pain is what it said, and some elbow pain and some other areas like that. He can still throw a deep ball. He's just got to make better decisions. He's got to find that connection with OBJ, because he found OBJ a couple times but threw behind him. So like there are some instances where he does make the right decision. There are other instances where he just won't execute it well, and then there are other instances where he just like doesn't protect the ball. He got sacked and he fumbled.
Yes.
Once you feel like he didn't feel the pressure either. Once you feel the pressure and you realize what's happening, you need to put both hands on that football and just eat it. It sucks. I would hate to take a sack, but better to take a sack and lose yards than just lose the football altogether.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, at least you're not Cleveland and getting your wide receiver getting strip sacked.
Jesus, that was funny.
That was
but
a
yeah,
mess of a game.
Matt's got to be a lot better too. I think he can still get better. I'm not completely like dooming him. I'm not a doomsayer on Stafford this year, but he's got to find that form that he was in September. Matt Stafford was unstoppable.
Right.
So I think if he finds that form again and they really work towards that, look at the film, realize what mistakes you made, realize you can play better. And I don't actually think he played a terrible game either overall. He had those mistakes.
Yeah, it's just goofy with Stafford. Is that he's not like if I would imagine if I looked at the PFF grade, I don't think he's had a game over like 70 in like a month. And coming from a guy who actively wears a jersey of a quarterback that has been a bum for 2 months in Lamar Jackson, it sucks.
It does suck.
Yes, it sucks a lot.
Just got to find that connection. I mean, losing Robert Woods still hurts. That's very painful. And like Sean McVay said that OBJ was a work in progress, and I totally understand why he would say that, because you're not going to just replace Robert Woods. No matter what big name receiver you bring in, you're not going to replace Robert Woods and what he does for the offense. His blocking and just understanding of the system is insane.
For sure.
Yeah, I think that the Rams have a lot of looking in the mirror to do. Raheem Morris cannot play bend but don't break anymore. He just straight up can't. It's terrible. It's not working. It makes me feel like the Rams don't care about stopping the runs when they like. It felt like every time Green Bay would get like a tough 3rd down and 2, 3rd down and 1, and then on the 1st and 10 they would just break off like 7 yards right out the gate. And this team is just not able to stop. They haven't shown me that they're able to stop too many of those 3rd down and short plays. It's killing them. Yeah,
I agree. And it's the Staley sort of defense has a lot of good things, right? They don't allow big plays. The Rams, the Chargers.
That was proven wrong. They allowed so many big plays yesterday. Or not, yesterday, Sunday.
Try being a Ravens fan. Just saying. Try being a Ravens fan. Heading into Sunday night, 9% of our snaps were 20-yard plays allowed. 9%. No other team other than the Jets were over 8.
When the Rams' whole point of their defense is to try to shut down the big play, and Jalen Ramsey is allowing big plays, something's wrong.
That's valid. That's valid. So
he did not have a good game. He straight up did not have a good game. And I just don't know, man. I really just don't know. I think it really helps the fact that, or hurts the fact that, like, we saw it work so effectively last year, just his pure lockdown one guy. Like, he stayed on DK Metcalf the entire game against Seattle last year. Metcalf didn't do anything. He stayed on Devontae Adams the whole game, the playoff game against Green Bay. Devontae Adams had a touchdown, but that was because Nick Scott blew coverage against him. Other than that, Devontae Adams didn't have a great game against Jalen Ramsey in that playoff game.
But Devontae
Nick Scott, by the way,
Sunday.
Nick Scott sucks. I'm going to be straight up there. Nick Scott sucks. Every time he has a couple like close interceptions, I guess, this year. One of them I don't think should have counted because it looked like it hit the ground. The other one was just because Tyler Lockett slipped. But
that was such Russ was so good in that first half. Russ bums me out, man. He was he was.
That wasn't Russ. That was Geno Smith throwing it.
Oh
But
yeah, you're right.
It was
But
because
Russ was
Luckett
so
slipped.
good in that game. Yeah, Russ was
Yeah.
awesome in the first half. Then he whack against Aaron Donald's helmet. Oh, that was so sad.
My point being is that like you can't stick with this. Like you can't try to make Ramsey do something different than what's already been proven to work.
Mhm.
Last year, the style that he was playing, so many huge name receivers. You had Lockett. Or not Lockett. It was Metcalf. You had
Mhm.
who's that guy? Hopkins get completely shut down.
Who's
by
that guy?
I forgot.
You're talking about a top 5 wide receiver there.
I forgot who I was talking about for a moment there. I forgot like which.
Oh,
But there's a lot.
that's
It's a
funny.
big list. It's a big list, and Ramsey was shutting a lot of those guys down for the most part last year. And you're trying to make him do everything at once. Sometimes it seems. But I could keep going down this path as well with Sean McVay too, because it really feels like there were a lot of times the Packers had all these orchestrated long drives. The Rams get the ball back, and then they just go 3 and out right away.
Mhm.
They throw 3 quick incomplete passes or a run that gets nothing, a screen pass that gets nothing. It's felt like Sean McVay has tried to win the game in one possession
Right.
a lot.
I agree. I
That's
agree.
not how you do it.
And
So
I think with McVay, it's kind of. I think I've beaten this dead horse that with Herbert and Mahomes, they like don't think their poop smells right.
yeah,
I think
Sean
McVay
McVay
falls
doesn't
in.
think his poop smells.
Yeah, I think McVay definitely falls into that category of if you would just breathe and understand that it's a 60-minute game and you don't need Stafford to be God. You don't need every play to work. Just breathe. Just let it happen. Just accept that some plays are going to go wrong. It's okay.
Shout out to
It's going to be
Austin.
okay.
Shout out to Austin who just sent me this stat. Jalen Ramsey in 2020, he held Amari Cooper to 7 catches, 57 yards, no touchdowns. Stephon Diggs 1 touchdown, 4 yards, 1 reception. Terry McLaurin 0 receptions. Allen Robinson 1 reception, 42 yards, no touchdowns. DK Metcalf 0 receptions. Mike Evans 4 receptions, 40 yards, 0 touchdowns. DeAndre Hopkins 3 receptions, 20 yards, no touchdowns. DK Metcalf again 1 reception, 11 yards, no touchdowns. Hopkins again 2 receptions, 28 yards, no touchdowns. DK Metcalf in the playoffs 3 receptions, 33 yards, no touchdowns. No wide receiver. None of those wide receivers had 100 plus receiving yards for the full game, whether or not they were covered by Ramsey.
I will say that cornerback stats are a little goofy. I'm not taking a shot at Ramsey. He is currently my all-pro 1 corner. But I will say that coverage stats as a whole can be goofy, right? Like not all interceptions are created equal. Not all touchdowns are created equal. Actually, Jack, I have a question for you. Which Ram was responsible for DeAndre Swift 60-yard touchdown?
DeAndre Swift, in what he did in that, he broke a tackle. I don't remember specifically which
who do you
receiver
think,
it was.
Who do you think
or
that
which corner
touchdown,
it was.
60 yards and the touchdown, who do you think that got pinned on?
Ramsey.
Yes.
Because Ramsey lined up in coverage against him. But Ramsey blitzed what he did. He was lined up against Swift, but he blitzed.
Yep.
And Swift broke 1 tackle and was gone because of the blitz.
Yep. Same
Not
thing.
Ramsey's fault at all, but because Ramsey
it's
lined
like
up against him.
There's like a million touchdowns like this. Like there was one that Diggs had 2019 Gilmore against Diggs. Was it Diggs?
Diggs.
Was it or not? It wasn't Diggs. It was it John Brown? Was he in Buffalo in 19? I think he was. Anyways, one of the Buffalo corners or one of the Buffalo receivers absolutely demolished Stephon Diggs on like a double move, or Stephon Gilmore on a double move. I guess it wasn't Diggs because Diggs wasn't there yet. But anyways, he absolutely demolished Diggs on a double move, or Gilmore on a double move. But the touchdown really shouldn't apply to Gilmore because he was playing, it looks like he gets torched, but in reality, he's just playing outside leverage and the route breaks inside. So it's not his responsibility. So McCourty gets torched down the field, but that touchdown goes on Gilmore. And that was a big, how can Gilmore be the defensive player of the year if he allows this touchdown to some bum receiver? It's like, come on now. That's not really his fault.
Watch the play.
It made
Watch the
for some good
play.
screenshots. It made for some really awesome screenshots.
People,
yeah,
this proves my point about the Rams, though. Like, a lot of people talk shit on Ramsey for allowing that play. It was but if you actually would have watched the play, if you actually would have blamed Ramsey for that Swift touchdown, that proves you didn't watch the game.
Yeah, there's
that proves you
more.
haven't seen it.
There's touchdowns that you can't technically blame them on two people according to stats, because you can't have, if you've allowed, let's say the Ravens, right? If Marlon Humphrey allows a catch and then no one else tackles Jamar Chase, the touchdown goes on Humphrey. Is it fair? Maybe, maybe not. But it is a 9-yard slant play, so Humphrey's coverage was fine. He just missed a tackle and zoop, he's off to the races. So, yeah, coverage yards are goofy.
Yeah, they are. But anyway, just the Rams have a lot of soul searching to do right now. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not too sure I care too much about the Jaguars game. And the reason why I say that is because a win against the Jaguars won't prove to me anything. It won't.
That is a lose-lose game. If you don't look good, you get clowned.
If you don't look good, you lose to the Jaguars. I mean, that's enough of a meme on its own. I don't think I need to say anymore. You beat the Jaguars, great for the morale, maybe.
Yeah.
But you should have beaten the Jaguars. It's not
like San Francisco
walked.
San Francisco absolutely blitzkrieg Jacksonville. Geno Smith beat Jacksonville, and Kyler played like dog booty for 3 quarters, and they beat Jacksonville. So it's a lose-lose scenario.
So suckish that that's the game that has to come up next. Like, what's that going to tell me? They could beat the Jaguars. Fantastic. The Jaguars are incompetent as hell.
Yeah, it's definitely like, it gives me Baltimore Miami vibes, just from this is a lose-lose scenario. That there's nothing positive to take away from this game, because if you lose, then you get dunked on. If you win, who cares? Like,
it's good for the morale, maybe. That's about it, though.
Yeah.
Like, winning fixes that in the sense that, like, if you win a game after a long streak, it doesn't matter, a long losing streak, it doesn't matter who you've played. You'll feel good about a win. You have something to build off of.
And that gives you 8 wins in the season, and that puts you that much closer to the playoffs.
It still counts as much. It still counts towards our playoff spot, but at the end of the day, it's lose-lose. Like, I don't see it's just not great. It's not a good situation. The Rams,
you lose, people can talk crap to you. If you win, you can't talk crap to anyone.
Don't get me wrong. I still want them to win this game. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
But it's not going to prove to me anything that anything's been fixed. You beat the Jaguars, fantastic, but you were supposed to.
All right, so I'm gonna have to hop off in a couple minutes, but I will give my synopsis on the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are very much in a just win a couple more games and you're going to make the playoffs. That's where we're at. Are the Ravens very good? I don't know the answer to that question, because they've been two fundamentally different teams. The first month of the season, Lamar Jackson was playing at an MVP level, and the Ravens were winning games because Lamar was going Super Saiyan in the fourth quarter. The last 2 months, Lamar Jackson, this is an exaggeration, Lamar Jackson has been the worst passer in the NFL. Since week 6 began, he has a 50 passing grade. 50! That's worse than Trevor Lawrence. That's worse than Zach Wilson. That's worse than Davis Mills. It's 50.1. 50.1. Lamar Jackson, what are you doing? Lamar, what are you doing? Outside of Lamar, the running game is kind of stagnant because you have 2 horrendously old running backs with Latavius Murray and Devontae Freeman. Although Nick Boyle's back, so the blocking in theory should get better, and you have a run blocking offensive line that's halfway decent sometimes. Receivers, Marquise Brown has been rock solid. Rashad Bateman has been rock solid, even if he's not, like, he's had like 29 yards twice. It's like, okay, that's not a huge day, but Bateman's very much a, when it matters, he will catch the football, and I like to see that. Mark Andrews had a phenomenal game against the Browns.
I loved that completely circus touchdown, by the way. That touchdown when Lamar ran back, it was third and goal, something in goal. Yeah. And he just drops all the way to
20.
And he drops all the way back to like at least the 30 and just launches it all the way.
And then Andrews screams open. So love Andrews. Andrews is tight end 1 this year, by the way. Defensively, just absolutely terrific. From everyone on the defense, outside of maybe Marlon Humphrey, everyone on the defense 8. The Cleveland Browns had 0 10-yard runs. The Ravens Devin Duvernay had 1 carry. It was for 13 yards. So Devin Duvernay touched the ball 1 time as a running back, which they should do more often. Touched the ball 1 time as a runner, 13 yards. Chubb and Hunt combined for 0. So just a terrific performance there. 17 touches for the running back room, 17 carries for 40 yards. Unreal. Just phenomenal run stopping. And that was without Calais Campbell. Great game from the linebackers, Queen and Bynes. Secondary was pretty solid too. So go Ravens.
Such a wacky game though, but yeah.
So with that said, we will need to shut her down over here. If you want more content, I'll be doing some reels, some shorts, some Chris will post them on TikTok. And yeah, absolutely. Any last words there, Jack?
We gotta end this quickly, so I'm just gonna say it now. Aaron Donald trains with knives.
Yes, Aaron Donald does in fact train with knives.